Madeline Soto, she had a birthday party on the 25th of February, her 13th birthday. And her mother did not even attend that party. But after the party, she went home and tried to sleep in her mother's bed. And the mother actually told her that she was too tired and she did not want her to sleep with her because she had to go to work early morning the next day, and that she should go and sleep with Stephen Stearns. Stephen Stearns happened to be Madeline Soto's 38-year-old boyfriend who had been living with them on and off. He did not live with them continuously, but he lived with them on and off. Madeline followed her mother's instructions and went to bed with Stephen Stearns, and then, supposedly the next morning, she was taken to school by Stephen Stearns, who claimed that he dropped her off at school. However, when Jenn Soto went to pick her up at 4:30 that day, Madeline had never been to school, and no one had seen Madeline that day. And so she was reported as a missing person around 8 p.m. that night. And the Florida police searched high and low for Madeline, and there was a major search party that was conducted. And it seemed that all of the evidence sort of pointed to Stephen having told tales that were not necessarily consistent with what transpired. So they actually had an interview with him, and a lot of what he said just did not add up in terms of where he dropped her, when he dropped her. And a lot of speculation, I mean, this has not been confirmed, was that she had already been killed the night before, and he had taken her body and disposed of it the next day. So what actually made the police charge Stephen was he had told Jenn Soto that he had factory reset his phone because he had some kind of problem with it. And in fact, that had never happened. And the police took his phone and found a lot of very disturbing images of Madeline Soto, where he had been sexually molesting her for a long time. And of course, as a result of that, he was charged. And he is going to be facing trial for her murder in, I believe, in November or in September of next year. But early next year, in January, there's going to be a trial that's going to establish the sexual harassment part of it and the assault. And now the latest development in the case is that there was another woman who lived with them, a roommate with Jenn and Madeline at the Soto home, and she claimed that he had acted very suspiciously. The police just interviewed her, I believe, yesterday or the day before, and he had acted extremely suspiciously on the day that Madeline disappeared. He washed his clothes. He had a whole bunch of tools that he had laid out on the kitchen table, one of which was a power tool, the other was a hammer. And when Miss Alvarez asked, Stephen about those tools, especially the power tools, he claimed that he was working on a project, but he did not elaborate as to what that project was. And the very extremely odd to Miss Alvarez was the fact that he had never washed his clothes before in the house, and that he had actually washed his clothes. So there's a lot of questions, clearly, but it's very clear to the police that he is definitely involved. Now, the person who has not been charged yet, even though she comes across as being very, in my mind anyhow, very dicey, is the mother. I mean, how could a mother of a child not know that this man was sexually assaulting her? And why would she instruct the child to go and sleep with this man? It just seems very bizarre. And her interview with the investigators, even though she was given some form of qualified immunity, to me seemed very strange and odd. I mean, I maybe just find it beyond discussing that a parent could treat a child this way and be so lackadaisical about her care and not, be aware that, one, it's completely inappropriate and absurd that she should be asking her child to go and sleep with this man who's not her father, and she not have any sense of what was going on. But allegedly he was the stepfather, even though he was not there continuously. He was deemed the stepfather, and that he was grooming Maddie Soto in ways, like he was caring apparently, but clearly he was not. And the fact that he also, I understand it, took nude photographs of this other woman who was the roommate. He had slipped a camera under her door and taken these nude photographs of her unbeknownst to her. And in the interview, either yesterday or the day before, she identified those photos as being herself. So lots of questions remain. And of course, the investigation is ongoing. And Stephen is in custody at the moment. So we will have to wait and see. Heartbreaking story. Heartbreaking that a 13-year-old girl should have had to die that way and to have lived that way.